Kate Thornton, and this is The Royal Box, the series that kicked off right here on Yahoo with live coverage of the most watched event of the year when His Royal Highness Prince Harry and Meghan Markle said, "I do." Joining me today to pass comment on the big day, well, first and foremost, he was our man on the ground in Windsor, our Windsor wonder man, HuffPost Ash Percival. So you finally made it to the studio.
Made it back.
Welcome.
Made it back.
Sitting alongside him, injecting some style and glamour today, it's Yahoo's style editor and font of all royal knowledge, Alison Nash. Thank you so much for coming in. And last but not least, Prince Charles's former royal butler, Grant Harrold.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you, one man that really did capture the nation's hearts, and not just the nation's, actually, the world over, was Michael Curry with his very passionate sermon.
Love is the way, then no child will go to bed hungry in this world ever again. When love is the way, we will let justice roll down like a mighty stream and righteousness like an ever-flowing brook. There's plenty good room for all of God's children. Well, like we are actually family. Your brothers and sisters. Children. Well, sit down. We got to get you all married.
See, there were some mixed reactions from the congregation. Would that be fair to say?
But I think that's been all of us in church from time to time. I don't know about you guys, but...
Sarah sat there like that.
I think Zara probably thought she left something in the oven back at the house. that kind of look.
That could get them far.
But yes.
I mean, Grant, you're a man that's mixed in many a royal circle. What's your take on the reactions?
It wasn't a normal service. Of course, it was very different, and some of the things he might have said was obviously, I mean, it was fantastic, but it was a different way of doing things. Over here, we do it differently, and it might have been more just your reaction is caught on camera. And
it's lovely to see those real, like, human insights into the people behind these royal characters that we know. To know that they've got a bit of a sense of humour, they find the same things funny that we do, and they sit in church and get the giggles like perhaps we would if we were sat there.
They're normal people, really, aren't they?
But one thing that is never going to go out of fashion is talking about the royal wedding dress. So, did Meghan get it right?
I think there was definitely mixed opinion. I think, first off, everybody said, yes, it's timeless, it's the epitome of class, it's beautiful, that silhouette, that bateau neckline. But then as the days, the hours went past, people started saying, well, actually, there was no embellishment. It was very simple. Was it really worth that huge price tag? I think it's around the 350,000 mark, whereas Kate's was just 250,000. I think she made a good choice. I mean, Givenchy was a great pick. Claire Waite-Geller was the first female artistic director at Givenchy, and she's British, so it was very strategic.
Within the royal household, what would the opinion have been of the choice of gown? Because it was simple, but it was very covered.
I mean, there'll be people to advise her and to keep her right, but most importantly, you consulted her mother, for example, on the dress. So it's I think it's a personal thing.
On the day, we all gasped, and I had a little tear when she got out.
She looked flawless, didn't she?
She looked beautiful. And then she changed in the evening.
Yes.
Into the little Stella McCartney
Stella number, yes.
Keeping it British.
Yes.
What did you think of this? Which did you prefer?
Personally, I have to say I preferred the Stella. I think because it was a bit more Hollywood, a bit more Meghan, a bit more red carpet. This is far more, right, I'm ready to party, I'm ready for the evening, I'm stepping into my Jaguar. I think this was a great, great choice. And obviously Stella she's really into sustainability, she's an ethical designer, and she's British. So again, and a female, another great pick.
They look like movie stars there.
Yeah,
every time I see those pictures, I just think she looks like an absolute
That stance Harry's
star.
got as well. He's ready for it.
Looks like James
swagger.
Bond.
It does, yeah. They look fantastic.
As did Meghan's mother, Doria, who was a huge talking point. She's a single mother who sat in church on her own. She actually really held herself together and composed herself beautifully. Why do you think that the public had so much to say about her? Was it because she handled herself with grace? Was it because she didn't take her nose ring out?
I think it's the thing that she was there on her own. I think everybody kind of supported the fact. We all kind of understood what had happened recently, whatever the reasons might be for that, and she was there to support her daughter.
She was so poised and so... And I love that she showed her emotions as well. I think that's something British people don't do, and actually it was really lovely to see Because yes, a mother would shed a tear on her daughter's wedding
Too
day.
right, especially when you've raised her on your own.
Exactly.
I'm agreeing that the thing about the royal family, they're famous for not showing emotion,
Yeah.
but there was a few emotions on that day actually, as we know. But it was wonderful to see that natural side of her mum and being herself, which is really important.
Across the day, the big moments were discussed, debated, tweeted, posted in huge detail. But there were those moments that were missed, and there's some really beautiful ones. What tugs at the heartstrings is Harry turning to his new bride and taking her hand and stroking the diamonds in her engagement ring that belonged to his late mother, Diana.
It's lovely.
Do you feel a sense of his mother being there across the day in terms of those moments?
One of the things I was asked, funny enough, was did I think that Meghan would wear anything of his mother? And I said, obviously there's the engagement ring, and I said possibly at some point we'll see her wear something else, which later on I think she wore a bracelet, which is very significant. And I think the fact that he did that, obviously it's shown her how much it means to see her wearing that ring. So it's a very personal thing, isn't it?
But he's spoken so openly, Harry, about his struggles with mental health, for example, which all relate, of course, to the loss of his mother. And has said previously that it's on those big days, and there is no day bigger for him thus far, I would imagine, that he really feels it most acutely.
I think with something like that, I mean, it is for anybody, it's the big day of their lives, and you want your parents to be there. And sadly, for a lot of us, that isn't possible. Yeah. And I'm sure, she was very much in his thoughts throughout the whole day.
And then Meghan was photographed wearing, obviously, the huge blue cocktail ring in the evening, which was Diana's.
Of course.
So he gave something to Meghan. That was her something blue for the evening, which is a lovely touch as well. They decided in advance that they wanted these certain nods to Diana, and they made sure it happened.
I think it was the sofas in the official pictures.
The green sofas, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was a nice touch and a nice way to marry up those two
You're right,
occasions.
actually, when you put all of those moments together, you can see and sense how she was stitched through the day. So, if you weren't one of the 25 million people that tuned in to join us here to watch them become the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, well, here's just some of the golden moments from the big day you missed.
All that I am, I give to you, and all that I have, I share with you.
Harry, I give you this ring as a sign of our marriage.
Harry and Meghan have given their consent and made their marriage vows to each other. I therefore proclaim that they are husband and wife.
Well, it goes without saying that we had a ball here on the Royal Box on the 19th of May with our coverage. But one person on my sofa was lucky enough to get a front row ticket, Grant. And what an amazing opportunity that must have been for you, although I know it's not your first royal wedding.
I did feel very lucky. I didn't expect it. I was invited by a friend who's a member of the household who invited me.
So because I figured like not all of the staff in the royal household could possibly be invited.
You couldn't. I mean, it's not just the Prince's household. You've got the Queen's household and other royal households as well. There's a kind of ballot that they have so that different members of the household can then put in.
Fair.
So it's fair. I think it's fair. So it's not a case of that you automatically get a chance. And then when I was invited, I was completely surprised. I didn't even realise that was going to happen, and I felt very lucky because I have been to a royal wedding before. I was at the
Charles and Camillas
wedding
at the same venue.
Same venue, but I was inside on that occasion. And what was interesting was being on the inside and being on the outside are two totally different experiences. On the outside, I felt you saw a lot more. I mean, you got to see all the guests. You were part of this amazing atmosphere, this fun party, exciting atmosphere. It was great fun. I mean, we had a picnic as well. So I had a picnic, and there was gins and tonics and Pimm's and champagne.
And what could you see from where you were? Because the way you were positioned, you were watching the royal entrance, for the members of the royal household.
We were opposite
family.
that door. So we could see the royal family going in, we could see all the guests walking down, we could see everything. The car, obviously, with the bride, we saw that because I was right at the front, so it was the perfect position. I mean, my pictures I think they're quite good, actually, because being right at the front, it was the
and you
perfect
were allowed
location.
phones. I mean, I would have
You
thought
could take pictures. There was somebody, actually, who had their phone on. They had the ceremony on the phone outside, so we could see what was going on.
And what's the rule in a royal household like Highgrove, where you were a butler for how many years to His Royal Highness?
7 years to the family. Wow. And it is an amazing opportunity. I mean, it was an ambition from a child, from a youngster, when I watched the documentary ER, which was about the Queen in the early 90s. And I remember saying to my father, how do you become a member of the family? And he, of course, said, you marry or you work for them. And I think I thought, who could I marry? You know, I was ahead of my time, but I was still thinking about it. And then...
Who did you have your eye on?
I think anyone. I thought, if any of them will have me, then that'll be perfect. You know, it was the reality. I just wanted into the family.
So a fan of the royal family?
Completely. I even wrote to the Queen. I've got 2 letters back from Buckingham Palace when I was about 14 or 15.
So when you applied to be Prince Charles's butler, I'm guessing that it's not him that does the interview.
Not initially.
But he does,
he
eventually.
does. Oh, yes, yeah. I had 6 months of interviews prior, and then the last moment was when they said, right, you can come up to Camillas House for your interview. As soon as you walk into the room, he was standing there. He offered me his hand, which is royal etiquette. That's what the royals do. They offer the hand first, and then I accepted while remembering to do the nod of the head, which is what the gentleman does. And he offered me to sit down, and as you do, you sit down with the Prince, and we had a conversation about why I wanted to be a butler.
Then for 7 years you served him night and day?
The reality is that today they have to do everything. And what I mean by that, it is looking after guests, serving drinks, laying tables, running errands, possibly even looking after children. I did that at Woburn Abbey.
And would you have helped out with Harry and William when
Oh,
they
absolutely.
were younger?
Oh, I mean, when I was there, they were young men. They went at that point. But part of my job was very much looking after them as well. So, I mean, I used to often phone my mum up and say, you won't believe where I am now or what I'm doing. And I think the only time that my mum was not disbelieving, but a bit shocked was when I said I'd actually got the opportunity to dance with the Queen, because again, that's rare. That's a very unusual thing. I mean, so now when I train butlers, I say make sure you're good dancers, because you never know what you might be asked to do.
How did you get on with Camilla?
She's wonderful. She's very much, she was part of the, obviously she's part of the family. And again, with the ball in Scotland, she actually said if I go, she would dance with me, and she danced with me.
Camilla as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely, wow. And she's a very good dancer as well, and I'm glad I took those dancing lessons. I think I'd be in trouble if I hadn't. Because
I think we all hope that actually once the door is closed on the royal homes, and in your instance, Highgrove, it's a family home.
Absolutely. I mean, with any kind of, with the royal family, I find them a very close family. There's wonderful humour. They are a family. I think what's significant about now is it's changed. There's no question. I mean, the boys have now got their own families, and now they're going to set up their own. Well, one's already done that. The other one's now setting up their own home, and hopefully it will carry on the same as it was for them.
They are really future-facing in terms of taking the monarchy into places that they would never have dared tread before. And actually, I think you have to kind of look back at Diana's work there. And you see now Meghan, for example, turning up at unannounced to visit the families who have been affected by the Grenfell disaster. You can see that actually a lot of the learnings from Diana are being applied and taken forward.
And 20 years ago, the things that she did, it was wonderful, but it was unheard of. Members of the royal family just didn't. Famously, she went to the the AIDS clinic and took the gloves off to shake the hands, and that was just unthought. You just didn't do that. A great example is the royal family traditionally would never hug. It wasn't the done thing. Where with the younger royals, especially William and Harry, you see them going up to kids and young adults, and they'll give them a hug. And as we saw there, they'll give them a high five, or they'll acknowledge them. Where royal protocol, that just didn't happen. And Meghan Markle's the same. There was a fantastic image of her with a schoolgirl that wants to be an actress. Prince Harry took the girl over to see her, and she went down and hugged her. And there was an image very similar with Princess Diana many years prior, doing the same thing, going down to that level, doing the hug.
Yeah.
So it's really significant, and I think that's what I've said to people. It's definitely the future of the monarchy, and it's why it will survive, because it's shown that it's adapted, it's changed. We've still got the wonderful traditions and protocol thanks to the Queen and the senior members of the family, but the younger senior members have just got a different way of doing it. They are down to earth, they do things, and the Queen as well. People forget, in Scotland, the Queen quite famously, when she's up in Balmoral, will go into the local town and used to go and kind of get bits and pieces and take friends into town, and people would see her in town. There was a wonderful documentary again in the 60s where you actually saw the Queen going with a very young Prince Charles and a Princess Anne into the local sweetie shop or the butchers or the bakers and getting things. They have got their protection because they need to have it. That's the reality of being the royal family. But they do lead relatively normal lives.
That's good. That's good to hear. Although it's going to be full-on official engagements again this weekend. We've got the Trooping of the Colour.
Yes.
But it's not been announced if Harry and Meghan will be there. So is it likely now that they have finally made their way onto their honeymoon?
Well, I think, like everybody, we keep asking this question, and hopefully they have, because they definitely deserve it. And I think the problem is people today, well, it's not a problem. Some people delay it for different reasons. They've already started doing royal duties, which is why it has been delayed, obviously.
But will they be allowed to try to have a little bit of private time now?
I think so. I think I'm hoping that they do get a private time. The problem is you're always going to have certain people that want to get pictures of them on honeymoon, and that's the reality of the world we live in.
Well, all we can hope for now is the pitter-patter of some tiny royal feet. What do you think, Grant? Is it going to be any time soon?
Well, you never know. I mean, with the workload, hopefully they will set some time aside. But the interesting little fact I've been saying to people is that the fact that the child will have joint citizenship, possibly, with America, and I have pointed out that if the child in later years decides to run for president, does that then mean that the monarchy get America back?
I think you're asking for a lot there, Grant. I mean, you've been to 2 royal weddings now. You can't have America next.
I know. Maybe it is a bit much just now. We'll revisit it in a couple of years.
Slightly greedy. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to sit and listen and better understand the comings and goings of the royal households. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you.
Now, as we said, while most newlyweds get whisked away straight away onto their honeymoon, we know that Meghan and Harry have been back on royal duties. So here's a quick roundup for you of all that's been going on in the royal household since May the 19th. Less than 2 days after getting hitched, the newlyweds were spotted at Prince Charles's birthday garden party, held in the grounds of Buckingham Palace to celebrate his 70th later this year. Meghan Mania showed no signs of easing up as the pastel goat dress worn by the Duchess sold out in minutes. Sticking to royal protocol, she teamed it with a custom Philip Tracy hat and Tamara Mellon court shoes. That's true. Royal security are used to keeping gate crashes at bay, but were helpless in defending the new Duke from a bumblebee.
Inspiration from every day. Save an input. Sorry, that beat really got me.
Prince William missed the celebrations to pay his respects at the memorial service to mark the anniversary of the Manchester bombings. William greeted survivors and relatives of those caught up in the attack last year. Still on maternity leave, the Duchess of Cambridge enjoyed a laid-back day out with Prince George and Princess Charlotte at the Houghton Horse Trials near their Norfolk country home. She attended in this £40 Zara number, which unsurprisingly flew off the shelves. Prince Louis hasn't been spotted since his birth, but royal fans are set for a christening said to be happening later this month. Rumours have been circulating, but it's yet to be confirmed where the new Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be honeymooning. Reports suggest they'll be enjoying some fresh air in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta, Canada, staying in the so-called Royal Retreat in Fairmount Jasper Park. Elsewhere this week, the newest member of the royal family is heading back to school, as the Queen's Assistant Private Secretary, Samantha Cohen, is thought to be Meghan's Well, I'm not sure what hit the headlines more there, the bumblebee or the dress. What did you think about Meghan's first appearance? We've got Alison Nash back with us, by the way. What did you make of her first royal appearance as the Duchess of Sussex? Did she look the part?
Yes, I think she definitely looked the part. Whether it's the part that everyone wanted her to play, though, is a different question. There was a lot of chatter on social media about how she was very much kind of the Duchess of Cambridge 2.0. She was suddenly very groomed. Her hair was completely slicked back, But the biggest talking point was her tights. She was wearing tights for the first time. Up until this point, hasn't really worn any tights. She's
Is that a royal thing, though,
Yes.
Grant? It is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, nude, isn't it? Nude skin tone colours is what they opt for normally.
Yeah.
Same with the nail varnish as well.
But we often saw Diana bare-legged with red nails.
So again, Meghan might change. She might make her own style. I think what she's doing at the moment is she's kind of looking at what the others are doing and obviously kind of copying that kind of similar style, which is safe. It's a safe way to be at the moment.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean to say, as you've mentioned as well, that she doesn't keep her own identity.
She's a new princess as well at the moment.
Yeah,
I guess she's just finding her feet. You know, that's
Finding a tight, Ash.
first official sort of engagement. The pressure's on, the attention's on her. You know, you kind of would play it safe the first time.
She probably just
round.
wants
I
to
think I
please
would.
the new family, doesn't she, for
course.
the first occasion? But potentially, like, maybe she will loosen up a
We
little.
all know, give it a couple of years, they'll soon wear off. Reality bites. Now, we know that Harry wooed Meghan in a tent in Botswana. Where do you think he's whisked her away on their honeymoon?
Well, the top tip at the moment is Canada, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that's where kind of everyone's speculating
A
that they
retreat
might
in
go.
Canada,
But I've also heard Botswana mentioned, which I think they've probably ticked that one off the list now. So I don't know.
The diamond and the engagement ring was from there. It's a place dear to their heart.
Yeah.
He also took Chelsea there, didn't he, in the past, I believe? So it's clearly somewhere that Harry likes
somewhere
taking
that-
his
Woo
girls.
the ladies.
I think it's somewhere that he feels, because I think he loves Africa
Yes.
and obviously involved in a lot over there. So I think it means something to him, and I think to her as well. But again, Canada makes sense for them to go over there. So who knows?
I'm hoping that they're on a beach in like the Maldives or just somewhere sort of really,
Kicking back,
really
chilling
luxe,
out.
really
Yeah.
sunny.
I hope she's got no tights on and a really messy bun and bright red nails.
Maybe they've gone back to Scotland to Balmoral like his father did. That'd be quite nice. I don't know. I don't know if they would like that idea, but
Oh yeah, honeymoon in Scotland.
in
is a bit
Scotland,
bleak,
I think
isn't
I
it?
was going to say
It's not a
the
honeymoon
midges, the
destination.
midges in the rain.
No, I think she's got years of that ahead of her. I think he's going to give us some sunshine for now. Well, a huge thank you to you all. Ash Percival from HuffPost, our man on the ground, Alan Coldridge, Yahoo style editor, and last but not least, Grant Harrold, our very own royal butler. Tune in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be giving you the inside scoop on the new Duchess of Sussex and discovering what Meghan Mania is really all about. Until next time, I'll see you soon.